Good afternoon, everybody. Take a couple of deep breaths and we'll give it just a few more minutes for the rest of our friends to join us. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining Bliss Breaks. I'm Kristen and I will be your guide today on all things Bliss Breaks. In case you are joining us for the first time, a Bliss Break is an easy mental exercise. You can do it to reduce stress, manifest peace, and capture joy in your life. Each exercise or idea typically takes less than 10 minutes. It doesn't cost any money, and it can be done just about anywhere, anytime. Practicing a Bliss Break will support you in becoming more aware of the abundance and the beauty that's already present in your life. And by taking a moment in your day to acknowledge the power of your thoughts and the purpose of your experience, you can improve your health and your well-being. I'm so glad to see you all today. We have an interesting Bliss Break today, inspired by the current events of preparing for our national elections here in the US. And I got inspired to address it. It's almost like the elephant in the room. You know, when I was growing up, people would say, oh, don't talk about religion and politics. Well, I talk about religion all the time, so might as well talk about politics. But the way that I want to come to it today is not from a place of left and right or blue and red, but instead from a place of oneness. And I want to remind everybody that we're all still inhabitants of this planet, despite our political affiliations and what we feel or what we're fearful of. Doesn't matter. We're all united in our country. And even though we may not feel very close, especially under the conditions of COVID and having to maintain social distancing requirements, we're still connected. Our hearts are still connected. In fact, because of doing Bliss Breaks Live, I have become even more connected to my friends, to my clients, and to all of those who support me on my path. So that's a little silver lining for you. When we're talking about our responsibility in voting, I think we can all agree. Voting is important. Voting is our right, and a hard-earned right and a responsibility. But what I really would like us to think about is mindful voting. And I want to encourage you to vote your heart-based values. And let me explain what I mean by that. Some people might cast a vote because they're fearful about what will happen to their money or their stock investments or something related to fear or lack or loss. And I would encourage you to really sit with those types of fears and let them go. That is really not the place that I want to vote from. I don't want to vote from a place of fear. I want to vote from a place of trust and understanding and commitment to my community, to my family, and to the nation at large. So I want to share with you a couple of little ways we can do that. Even if you've already submitted your ballot, we'll talk about that in a moment, when you're thinking about the different ballot measures, the articles that are coming up for vote in your municipality or in your state, or even looking at the candidates that are running for election or re-election, I want you to take those individuals or those ideas and concepts into your heart and listen to what your heart's telling you. For instance, if you were to visualize, close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so, and visualize a world that works for everybody, what does that world look like? Who's in it? Who's in charge? What do those people value? In doing visualization techniques, not only do we reduce the cortisol, that stress hormone in our body, but we contribute to the greater good. I know for a fact that my personal thoughts and beliefs manifest themselves all the time, every day. And not just my good beliefs or my positive beliefs, but my negative beliefs and my fear-based beliefs manifest themselves constantly. So be mindful of where you're really putting your political thoughts or your voting thoughts. If you envision a world that works for everybody and that's one of your values and that's what you hope comes out of maybe this election that's going to happen in November, think about the candidate that you want to vote for. And before you circle the little dot next to their name on the ballot, or before you discuss it with your neighbor or get in an argument with your friend, ask yourself if that candidate truly embodies you, what you believe, and also that they hold those values that you have so that you can roll that out by means of your vote, that you can share that by means of your vote. It's really important that we be mindful of this. Do your homework, of course. Everybody's going to tell you to read those ballot initiatives and understand them and ask questions if you don't. I noticed here in Colorado, there's a lot of tricky language on these ballot initiatives, and everybody wants me to change the Colorado Constitution. But if I just read the first couple sentences, I'll discover very quickly that it's the last half of the ballot initiative that holds the most meat. And that's really what the ballot initiative's about, not the fluffy stuff at the top of the writing. That's done intentionally. So I really want you to invest a few minutes, a few hours, and reaching out to some friends and family so that you fully understand the choice that you're making in your right and your responsibility in voting. Is the ballot measure consistent with the world that you want to live in? Is it consistent with the values that you hold, that not just for yourself, but values that you hold for everybody? It's not just about our individual rights and how we want the world to turn out. We have a responsibility when we're visualizing, meditating, and being a mindful individual in our community. We have a responsibility to own that for the community at large. And then ask yourself, while staying neutral, I'm sure you're going to laugh at that because it's very hard for some of us to be neutral or maintain a gentle stance with our voting, especially when we're extremely enthusiastic. But does voting yes or no on a particular ballot measure or for a candidate individually, does it cause a visceral reaction in your body? Do you get a lump in your throat, a pit in your stomach? Just pay attention to those types of physical cues or physical reactions, because it really can give you a lot of insight into whether you're voting from your heart and a space of love, or if you're voting from fear or a space of lack. Those are a really great litmus test that the Course in Miracles shares with us is this based in love or is this based in fear? And we have to face it. We're all living that fine line between making decisions between love and fear all the time. If you're not at peace with the way you're voting on a certain candidate or a condition or a ballot measure, spend more time with it and really give it the mindful attention. I am happy if it's related to voting or anything else in the world. If you want to do a visioning with me, just ring me up. You can text me, you can email me, you can reach out to me through social media. I would love to spend 15 minutes with you, walking you through a visualization to solve a problem or for you to investigate your wishes and your true beliefs around voting, around our government process, which we really are frankly lucky to have it the way that it is here in the United States, even with all its ups and downs and its negative or perceived negative issues sometimes. And when I do visionings with people, some of you on this call have done them with me. It really comes from a space of no judgment, and you don't necessarily share with me the imagery, the colors, the wording, the clarity that you have in your visioning. You don't necessarily have to clear it or share that with me. Some people do because they want it interpreted, but it's not necessary, and I'm always happy to do that for you. So finally, for those of you, if you've already submitted your ballot, which I know, looking at my list of buddies over here, I know a lot of you probably have. I haven't yet, just haven't had the time to really sit down and do it mindfully. However, even if you've submitted your ballot, your job is not done. I want to encourage you every single day to spend 5 minutes, maybe in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, visualizing that world that works for everybody, visualizing your vote and the result of your vote and your candidate or your ballot measure winning. What does that look like? And if you visualize it, if you put it out there to the greater beyond, that is our race consciousness. That's where all of our social beliefs live, in this ethosphere above all of us as individuals. So by putting your visualizations out into that space, you are a very powerful individual. And just like voting, I think it's our right and our responsibility to be very mindful of what we think, what we speak, and what we put out into the greater world. You can close your eyes. You can picture the outcome of the vote going your way or for the good of the community. But you can also do a few other things. You can call your friends and encourage them to vote. Remind them to vote. Ask them if they voted. Share your enthusiasm. I think what's really fascinating is that you could put out on social media, maybe in the Nextdoor app, that you're willing to drive someone to vote, or you're willing to pick up somebody, maybe they're housebound. You want to pick up their ballot and ensure that it gets delivered safely to the ballot box. There's a lot of things that you can do in a positive, energetic, to influence the outcome of this really important election. Every election is really, really important. So I hope you enjoyed this Bliss break today. These little techniques, little times of mindfulness will reduce your voter fatigue, your election fatigue. You can share this information with other people so that they too can realize that engaging and being involved in the voting process is really a true gift, and how powerful we are just as individuals. That is so important for us all to remember and not feel let down, but know that our voice matters and that our voice really makes a difference. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video so that if you do have questions, you feel free to ask those questions without being recorded. But I love you all. I'm so glad that you were here with me today. Thank you so much. And soon, Bliss Breaks is going to be on the website, and we have some additional business expansion going on with the Bliss Breaks brand. So maybe in the next 2 weeks, if you keep joining me, I will announce it here first. Take care, everybody.